Good morning, afternoon, and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela. I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and welcome back to today's Whips, Bits, and Chat. Okay, and nothing much has changed here in the background or even my opening titles as yet because I haven't got round to them. I will explain more in a few moments. Come on, let's go and see what I've been up to. Okay, so the channel itself has been very quiet this last month and possibly a bit because I didn't get round to posting stuff up before the new year and I was not here in the UK to be able to post anything up during the month of January because me and my family have popped over. I shouldn't say it like that, but for me it is. I've popped over to see the Outlaws in Australia. So today's video I will show you sort of what I've bought, if I've bought anything, and of course what we got up to while we were over there. Anything that was crochet and channel related rather than, yeah, we did this, we did that, we did the other. Oh, but actually no, I think there might be a food section for those foodies out there because, oh yeah, the food was lovely. Right, so we flew out, I think it was the 2nd of January, and it's a 24-hour flight, okay, with a couple of stopovers of a few hours at each stopover, just because my husband likes it that way. I'd rather have one stopover, get off, get back on the plane and be gone, rather than mucking around going through customs each time you get off. But yep, 24-hour flight. And we got over there at 8ish in the morning. Well, actually it was about 6ish by the time we got out of customs and everything else and on the road. We got to mum and dad's at about 8:30, which luckily for them wasn't too early this time. We've done earlier before. We've got there a lot earlier before and completely didn't tell them previously, but this time round they knew we were coming. So my brother-in-law picked us up, popped back to his, had a brew, and then jumped in the car and went round to mum and dad's. Took all our luggage out because at mum and dad's we're really lucky, they've got spare bedrooms, so that's where we stay with mum and dad. So it works out that all we need is our spending money and of course our flights. So although it's an expensive flight and it's expensive to get there for us because we're not having to pay for accommodation, it works out budgeting wise to the same as probably going to Lanzarote for 2 weeks, but instead we go to Australia for as close to a month as we can get, depending of course on work and family commitments back here in the UK. So we get over, and the first thing I'm doing is I'm sitting rocking in my chair. Mother-in-law says take her to Spotlight now, she needs to. And I was like, no, it's okay. I took a project with me. I didn't get any of it done on the plane on the way out because I just sat and watched films. Actually, I sat there and watched all of their Supernatural they had, and my husband's going, really, you only finished watching that at the end of last year? Because that's what I was watching while I was crocheting up all the poppies, was Supernatural season 1 to the end. But I'm sitting there, I'm happily watching my Supernatural, napping when I needed to nap and all the rest of it, eating the food, which actually was quite nice, makes a change. I can't tell you which airline we were using because I can't remember. It's not been 2 days since I've landed, so my brain's not in gear. And forget about telling you where the stops were because I paid no attention. I stayed in the airport, so it was a case of a walk out of the plane, go through customary bit, walk round, get back in on the plane again. There was nothing really to explore there, apart from a couple of shops which I didn't buy from anyway. Well, where was I? Oh yeah. Ooh, brain's still not quite with me. Actually, it hasn't been for years, has it? right. So we've gone to Spotlight because my nephews have got two little ones now, and I didn't get to see them when I was last over looking after mum and dad. So this time round I got to see them, and I was told that the little girl, the elder of the two children, is a bit of a cheeky monkey, which is a term that we always use in our family, meaning that they're lively, they're bouncy, and they're happy to be thrown around and things like that, right? So this cheeky little monkey, and my mother-in-law had given her a teddy bear monkey when she was about a year old, and that girl goes nowhere without it. And I thought, well, if she's anything like mine, if that monkey falls apart, disappears, or has to, I don't know, go for a spin and a wash, she's going to be a little toe rag. So I'm like, right, I know, I've got it. So I decided I was going to make her a little bag, just a little rucksack. I thought, I've got enough time to do this. I want to do a little monkey with a little head and work out where all the bits go and all the rest of it. So I'm sitting there and I'm doodling and I'm drawing. My mother-in-law's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to make the baby. Well, not the baby, but the youngster. She's only 2. But I'm going to make her a little rucksack bag. My mother-in-law's going, have you got time for that? I'm like, yeah, I should be all right. It should be okay. So I've got the basic pattern in my head, which was, to start with, it was this style of bag. So with a rounded bottom. Okay, and then I was going to build up off it with the actual bag itself, add some arms and legs as I go, because we all know how I hate to sew. And then I was going to add the flap, add the head, and then add the straps. I sat down, I wrote this pattern out, I drew some really dodgy pictures that I will not be showing you. And I then sat there rocking in my chair because I'd got the pattern roughly written down the way I wanted it. But I didn't have any brown. I needed brown for my monkey, and I needed black, and I needed white. But I needed brown for my monkey. And my husband's going, what's going on? I went, I've got no yarn. I can't make my bag unless I go to Spotlight. He's gone, is this your way of saying that we're about to remortgage the house because you're going to buy out Spotlight? I said, no, I promise you, I'm just going to go in, I'm just going to buy the yarn that I need for the bag. I'm going to stay away from the mill end bags, the mill end bins, sorry. I'm not going to pick up any mill end bags. He said, okay, is there anything else that you want while you're there? I said, actually, I'm going to grab some grey as well and some multicolour because I want to make the baby something as well. He said, do you know what you want? I said, yep, I've got the pattern written down for that. So we drove to Spotlight. I went right to the back of the store where they've got the yarn wall, because I know that particular Spotlight pretty well. I've been there a good few times now. So I walked straight past the first load of bin, like the first mill end bin. My husband's there going, I'm so proud of you. I was like, thank you, darling. Still frog march into the back of the shop. There's the yarn wall, and I'm like, right, I need brown, and I need enough brown, and I need a grey. So I've gone boink, 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 chuck, chuck, chuck in the bag. It was on special, so I was like, sweet. Grab what I need, grab an extra one just in case I got my math wrong, which is normally the case when it comes to me doing amigurumi. I either don't buy enough or I buy too much. But because I was making the bag as well using the same yarn, I wanted to make sure that I could double up the amount of yarn in the bag. So I wanted to double it up as I was working it to make it more robust. So doubled up the yarn that I thought I would need for the bag. Yeah, you can tell by the look, okay, but that's for a bit later on. Right, so I've grabbed all the yarns I needed. I've chosen the colour for the baby's item as well. And as I was walking out past the mill bin, one fell in. Just one bag, okay. hubby didn't spot it. We've got to the tills. I've put it all through and I've gone, oh, this million bag. He went, oh, just put it on, don't panic. So put it on, like, done it all, and he paid for it as well, which was a bonus. Because of course the rest of the stuff was for the nephews, little ones, so my great nieces. That feels really old, but he's just said that I'm going to get called Auntie Ange. That'll do me, because otherwise it's going to confuse the kids and me. So yeah, I'm still auntie throughout. So the yarns I brought, let me just grab them. Okay, so you're going to be like, hold on a minute, you've got the yarns? Yeah, I went back and bought them again because I realised they were such cute items that I'd made that if I showed them to you, some of you might go, Ange, we need the pattern. So Ange had to go back and buy more yarn. Right, okay, so the first colours I picked up, actually most of these are from the Marvel, Four Seasons Marvel. Now, I thought I'd picked up a DK 10-ply. Okay, now, you know I know this number off by heart. Did I check the label? Did I flip? No, I didn't. Not by the long, not at all. I ended up picking up the Marvel of Four Seasons in 12 ply, gang. That's Aaron for us in the UK. And, oh, what is it? Aaron? 4-weight. There we go. I knew I'd get there in the end. So that's the Aaron UK, a 4-weight America, and of course a 12 ply for Australia. So I got that in the brown. Well, it's not a brown. What's it called? It's on the label. There we go. That's in bear. And I thought, oh, that's actually a really nice colour. I fell in love with this one. There were a couple of other browns elsewhere in the store, but I fell in love with this one, which for me is really strange. Okay, then the next colour up was sand. Now this, if I put it next to the brown, as you can see, oh, let's just do that. Right, so yeah, as you can see there, it's quite a nice warm toned brown. Hopefully you can make that out. Yeah, so I thought they worked really, really well together. And then, of course, I needed a black and white for details. Yes, these have been used. No, you can't tell. If I stuck them on the scale, they would still probably say 100 grams. And then that was everything for the bag. Okay, now I did have to pick up multiples of both of these, but I've got them in the bag sitting down here. They will go up on the shelf later, so you can guess at what the next project is we might make. Depends on if you like the pictures at the end. And then for the baby, I picked up the grey, and then I picked up this multicolour. Now, hold on, the grey is, let's go back to that. The grey is still the Marvel, and it is still the 100% acrylic in 12 ply. The colourway on this one is, where are you? Light grey. Simples, light grey. So I've got that one. And then I got the Four Seasons in Spot Saver prints, which again is a 10 ply Aaron weight, Aaron or 4 ply, oh, 4 weight, there we go, got it. Now you get 140 grams per ball of this one, and the colours are, I think they're really quite pretty. Alright, it's got some yellow, green, white, pink and a blue in there. There we go. I'm hoping the camera will pick it up pretty well. So that was for the body of the elephant. That was for the elephant's head. But of course, first up, I started on Monkey. Now, I am really chuffed at the way Monkey came out. Litlin loves Monkey. It took her a little while to warm up to me, but Monkey, she loved straight away. And then for the elephant, the baby hadn't seen the elephant because I completed that just before we were due to fly back, and I didn't get a chance to then go and see nephew again, or him come to us because of work schedules and things. So I'm waiting to hear whether little Miss likes that one too. So that's our little Z and our little A all sorted. But yeah, the main, outside of that stuff, of course, there was the mill end bag. Now this is the mill end bag that fell into my basket. Now, I saw the colours and I'm like, do you know what? I don't care. I like it. Pink and green, of all things. I've been trying to stay away from red and green, haven't I, and black, because, hey, I've had to deal with a lot of that this last year. But no, I picked up pink and green, and it's got a white. Now, I didn't look closely at it. I just saw that it was hanked, and I thought, I've never had hanked millens before. I've had caked, I've had balls, but I've never had hanks. So I grabbed it, not thinking anything of it at all. Yeah, $12 I've paid for these. They look very pretty. But I don't know if you can see, it's actually a speciality yarn. It's the white section. Hold on, let me just undo this one a little bit. I have actually got one downstairs that's in my crochet bag that I was working with, but trying to work out what hook to use on it, of all things. But here we go. Now it's a chain spun, right? The white section is chain spun. Is that coming out? It is now. And that's what I saw. I just saw chain spun and I thought, oh, chain spun and flashes of colour. I like that. I'll give that a go. But as you just saw, that ain't no flashes of colour, is it? Look. Come on, camera. Be nice to us. Focus, you obnoxious toe rag. Is it picking up my eyes or something? There we go. It's blobs of fluff. What am I meant to do with it? I've got 400 grams of this. Don't get me wrong, it is pretty, but I've been trying to work with it, work out what to do with it, work how to do with it over the last couple of days, especially on the flight home. I just thought, well, I've got plenty of time, and I haven't managed to find a method yet where it's nice, to put it politely. I've tried single crochet, but I tried it in lots of different with lots of different size hooks. One hook I did manage to get it to look reasonable, but I'm going to have to ask the cheeky Mary who was with me that day what hook size I was using. Does she remember? And I've dropped the name in once, but I'll tell you a bit more about Mary and my adventures with her in a little while. But yeah, at the moment I've got 6 hanks of these, so that means there's 50 grams in each. I haven't weighed it to double check it. I'm just going to have to work out what I'm going to do with it, because I was thinking if I could make a top with it, that would be ideal. I was just going to do basic stitches and let the floofy bits do all the work and make the pattern. But yeah, I haven't found the stitch yet. Right, okay, so that was most of what I bought in Spotlight. I would say most. That was trip number 1. Yeah, stop giggling. I really did break my yarn ban, but I only went in and got what I actually needed for the most part, apart from that bag and one other. Now, the next time I went in, I had to go in and grab another ball of brown because I didn't have enough to finish off the monkey bag. So we just walked in, I just grabbed that and only bought 1 ball of yarn. Stay clear of the bins, although I did start eyeing them up because they'd just been refilled. And I'm like, I can see things in there that I've not seen before. I can see things in there that I want to get my hands on. I can see. No, step away. Because I had plans to actually go out yarn shopping with a fellow YouTuber. I've dropped the name once. And it's our cheeky Mary from Well Crochet. Me and her have been chatting for a little while, and she said, we're going to Bendigo. I'm like, woohoo! Don't know where it is. Please bring me back, sort of scenario. Please take me back to my outlaws at some point. So me and Mary actually were planning to go to Bendigo on, when was it? 17th, I think. So I didn't want to spend my yarn money at the beginning of the holiday, which is what I normally do. I normally spend all my yarn budget and then I start crocheting stuff. And I either have it stolen by the mother-in-law or I manage to pack it and bring it home to show you. But this time round, I just made the items for the baby. Oh, and a dog. Yeah, I forgot about the dog. Sorry. My niece has a St Bernard, and she really wanted to get one of the barrels that you put around their collar, but she's been looking, and they are really expensive. And they're not even filled with alcohol. She wouldn't mind if it was filled with alcohol. She'd see it as being a bit more worthy, but it wasn't. So I said to her, don't panic. I've got some of the monkey brown left. I will crochet you a barrel. So I did. But of course, I haven't seen what that looks like on Puppy yet. Fingers crossed she will be receiving it shortly, because I gave it to her brother to give to her. I was like, yeah, give that to your sister. She only lives up the road. It's just we hadn't managed to get just up the road. In Australia, everything's just up the road. If you classed it as just up the road in the UK, that would be within walking distance of like 5 to 10 minutes, yeah? Walking distance is just up the road. Australia, just up the road, is 45 minutes by car. But everything's up the road. Right, so this video is a little bit discombobulated, because what I want to do is keep all of the Spotlight purchases all in one section, and then we'll move on to Bendigo and the Bendigo section later. Right, so I've been to Bendigo. I bought some yarn. I will show that to you in a minute and tell you all about the trip and the day out that me and Mary had. But just before I left, I turned around to hubby and said, hubby, I've still got some spends. I managed it. I came out of Bendigo, Woollen Mills, with spends. But I was like, I've got some spends. Can I go back to Spotlight? He said, what do you want? I said, well, I want some more brown. I want some more grey. I want some more this, that, the other. He's gone, no, you don't. You just want to go and hit the mill ends. Well, yeah, of course I do. He's like, well, be careful, because we don't have a lot of room left. He's gone, you've already filled up one suitcase with yarn, which I pretty much had. So we were having to put all our clothes elsewhere. No, we sorted it out to get it home in the end. Well, we went back into Spotlight, and that's when I picked up the browns, the greys, and everything else that I've shown you today so far. And then I picked up this Four Seasons Spot Saver print, which is a 10 ply again. So of course that's an Aran or a 4 weight. Now there is 140 grams in this ball, and it is, what's that, 238 meters a ball, and the needle size or hook size is 5mm. There's a lot of instructions here. Hand wash or machine wash, that's the bit I look for on yarns. Lay flat to dry, don't tumble dry. That's not a problem. I don't tumble dry. And the colourway on this one is grey black. Very inventive on the names. But I picked this one because I've got a project in mind for it, and fingers crossed it will work. I don't quite know if it will yet, but there is only the one ball, because I believe that's all I'm going to need. Oh, it's going to be tight. But hey, there's enough different colours of black and grey in here so that I should be able to match it up with stuff I've got on the shelf, if a worst case scenario. Alright, okay, so I had picked up that one. I picked up all the browns and the greys that you've already, browns and other bits and pieces that you saw. And then I picked up a final mill end bag. Now, there were rumours online. There's rumours online that the new yarn, oh, what's it called? The Granny Square one. I'm going to have to check. I'll be back in a second. There was rumours that the Red Heart all-in-one Granny Square yarn had been seen in Spotlight in Australia, which I thought was really strange, considering it's only meant to be available in the USA and Canada at the moment. But I have seen other yarns come through in the mill end bags that weren't supposed to in the past. Okay, so I didn't bother checking the colourways before I went in. I did not, well, I'd done a little bit of research because I'd seen one video on it before I flew to Australia from the Mikey at the Crochet Crowd, which was the review, demo and problem solving Red Heart all-in-one Granny Square yarn video. I will link that one down below, and I'll be revisiting it shortly. The yarn's on the table, but I will be showing you later whether it's this one is in fact that yarn, or whether I've just wasted 12 bucks, about £6, on 3 balls, because that's all there was in here, but it's still 400 grams of squishiness. So I'll give you a quick look, but I can't tell you if it is or if it isn't, because although the other ball is out the bag, I haven't got to working with it yet. Do you realise how hard that was? I had to get my husband to hide it from me in the house. Or should I say at my mother-in-law's house. I said, take it, hide it, otherwise I will spoil it. Because I want to basically crochet the granny square, as Mikey tells us to in his video, with this yarn, in the hopes that it is actually the granny square yarn. And then it will be, how many can I get out of it? That's if it is. If it isn't, I'll have to think of something else to do with it. Might end up being an elephant body or something. You never know. But yeah, so that was the final bag and the final purchases from Spotlight this year. Or yeah, for February, January even for me, whilst I was over there. Okay, now on to Mary. Now, I've been chatting to Mary at Wow Crochet Designs. There's the name, and a link to her channel will be down below if you haven't come across her. She is bat crazy, an absolute giggle pot, and I think she's wicked. I love her content. She makes some stunning patterns, beautiful tutorials, and as I said, is bat crazy. She does lives as well, where she likes to stick people in the corner for being naughty, but the naughtiness is more of if you help her, or if you make a giggle or something like that. It's not naughty where you're actually being bad, it's naughty where you're good. So she laughs and tells you to get in the corner. I've got my tent there, mate. My goal every single live is to get in that corner. But yeah, so I'd been chatting with Mary before we flew out, and I'd said, oh, I'm coming over and I'm coming to Melbourne. I know you're in Melbourne. It would be lovely to meet up. And she agreed. So on the 17th, she drove round at stupid o'clock in the morning it was. She got to me about 9ish, I think, 9, half 9. And she come from the opposite side of Melbourne. Now, Melbourne's big. All right, so she's grabbed me up, and we've headed off to Bendigo Woolen Mills. That's one of her favourite shops, and I can honestly say I understand why. It was beautiful, and no, I did not record anything whilst I was in there. I was too flabbergasted. I just thought I was there, and I just thoroughly enjoyed the experience. So fingers crossed I can explain it well enough for you. You walk in, you've got a couple of wired bins. You've got the main tilt area in the middle of the room. Up the side of each of the rooms, there are cubicles like this, but they're in brown wood, okay, and they go up very high. I think it was an 8. It went up 8 rows, and it went down the length of the wall, and then it went along the back of the wall, but in the middle of that there was a massive gap. And this massive gap was patio door size gap that you walk through, like you can walk through, and it takes you into another room. Now, in this first section that I went to, it was beautifully laid out. You had cottons in all different sizes, in all the different colours that they do, all put in these cubes. So it started off at a 1 weight, a 2, 1 ply, a 2 ply, 4 ply, 8 ply, 10 ply, 12 ply, and then it had the colours, and you could basically choose any of those colours in any of those plies. The bins had some mixed colourways, similar to that sort of style, that bit there. So it was like that sort of colourway style, but in different colours. I've seen that yarn before. I've even played with that yarn before, so I thought, right, I'm not going to purchase that one today. I kept looking. They then, on the next wall, that's where all the wool was. And again, they had this big donut cakes. It was like big donuts. You just wanted to get hold of them and eat them. They were tasty. But I was so overwhelmed by the colour and the colour choices that I was like, take a breath, calm down. You know what your spends are. You can do this, and you can sensibly walk out with only a small amount of yarn, because of course I needed to make sure I bought enough for a project, but also only bought enough for that project, or maybe 2 projects, and definitely had enough of room in the luggage, because we didn't have any spare suitcases. I'd already stolen all of my brother-in-law's in previous trips, and we hadn't brought them back yet because like wheels had fallen off and things. But I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, it's all so pretty. But then Mary goes to me, follow me. Come on, this way. This is the bit that you're going to love the most, Ange, because I know you're tight. She didn't quite say it like that, but she was being very polite. She don't like, but later on, once she got to know me properly, it sort of came to light, yeah, that's what she meant, in the most loveliest of ways. So she's taken me into the next room. Now that room is where they have all the end of line stock clearances, and the packs, like the packs of yarn. So you're not just buying one, you'll buy a pack. And I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, let's hit up the wool section first. I'm going to start feeling the wool and see if my hands react to it, because with some wools that I've used in the past, I've had a reaction where my hands start feeling tight. They feel tight and dry, but they aren't the normal sweatiness. And I'd made sure not to have any hand cream on or anything like that. So I've gone in there and I've started feeling the yarns, and I'm like, okay, that one feels a little bit scratchy. That reminds me of this yarn from the UK. This reminds me from that. And I was going along the shelves, and Mary was saying, okay, what does it remind you of? Have you got something similar in the UK? And I'm saying, okay, this reminds me of so yarn. This one is the same thickness as another brand. This one reminds me far too much of an Aldi Aran weight yarn. She went, oh, okay. So I put that one back. And I worked my way around, okay? And it was quite a lot of single colours, okay? Now, I did see one bag and I was drawn to it, absolutely drawn. The colours in it were beautiful. The only problem was it was a bag of fluff, as I call it. You know, I don't know if you've seen people spin their own yarn, and they get the bag of colourful fluff and then they turn it into yarn. That's what it was. There was loads of it, and I'm going, I like that as a colourway. I would like that as a colourway, and I want that as a colourway. Can't spin, so I left it behind. But yeah, I've kept going around and I've had to look, and I'm like, okay, this one, there was one, but they were only little 20-gram balls, and I was like, no, I'm not paying that for a 20-gram ball, because I know of a similar colourway elsewhere that I can get at a better price here in the UK, which was quite strange. But then I came across this one bin, and the colours in there, right? Okay, the colours drew me to it, and you were paying, of course, per bag, ish. Here it is. Look at that. It's 8 pinks and purples, and each one of these balls has all 3 of those colours in there. I know that because I've already taken it out to have a look. Okay. Have I got the one on the end? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there it is. Now, I didn't just buy one pack of that. I got 2 in that colourway. This is where I got a bit daft and a bit naughty, because I then brought 2 in this colourway. Oh, you can't see it. There we go. Which is a greens. What's it got? It's blues, yeah, and yellows mainly. Now, I haven't taken this one out, so I haven't fully checked. But whilst I was in the car with Mary, later in the day, I pulled out this one because I wasn't driving, you see. I pulled out this one and I just crocheted a sample to see what it would look like in different stitches. Now, my sample is really wobbly, and I did that on purpose. honestly. One side's nearly straight. Okay, so the reason I say that is because it was hard to work out where the stitches were. What I ended up doing was after each set of rows, I would skip a couple of stitches in so that I could clearly see where they were visible. So this first couple of rows at the bottom here are done in a single crochet. The next two are half double crochet. Then we have our double crochet section at the top here. Then I mucked about a bit and I did a couple of shells. You can see it if I stick my eyes through it. A couple of shells. Then it would help if I showed you it the right way around. No wonder you couldn't see it. Okay, there's the shells. Then I did a, what's the name of the stitch? I cannot think. It's where you single crochet, chain one, single crochet into the next, and on the return you single crochet around the chain. Boink. There we go. Then there is also some V stitches at the top. Now I did that so that we could see how the colourway are worked up, and we could also see how quickly it's going to go from dark to light. Now at the moment I'm on a pink. It's then going to turn into the purple section. As you can see there's pink, there's purple. Now let's grab the band for this one. Now this one is Tempo, and it's 10 ply, and it's heirloom. Heirloom is spelled with an H. It's at 100 grams. Where have we gone? Yeah, what is it? 18.5 stitches per 10 centimeters. 5mm needles or hook, and approximately 200 grams per ball. The shade on this one is 149, and it's dye lot 01. But guess what? She takes me to a wool mill, right? Where they've also got cotton. And what do I find? The only acrylic in the entire shop. I bought the only acrylic. Mary couldn't stop giggling in the car. She's like, trust you, girl, trust you. But yeah, so that is what I bought. But on top of that, they were $2 a ball. You weren't charged per packet on these. You were charged per ball. That's $2 per ball. UK translation, that's £1 a pop. So yeah, I'm super chuffed. I definitely think I have got enough there to make some sort of a jumper or something. I've just got to decide, 1 on the stitch and 2 on the pattern itself. So keep an eye out for that, because once I do it, you'll know about it. And the other thing that I grabbed was a pack of buttons. Now these are carved tile buttons, and they're 25 millimeters. Now I think these are really pretty. The design, I don't know where the design is meant to come from, but for me, sorry about the crackling, I should have done this off camera. Oh, there we go. But for me, it's given Aboriginal vibes. Not saying they are, I'm just saying that's what it gives me. And now each of these buttons are slightly different colours. Come on, you were focusing properly then. That one there. And they look slightly different front and back, but when you put them all together, they do work really nicely as a set. And there was 10 of them in the packet. They were $9. They nearly cost me more than well, they're just shy of a pack of that pack of yarn, aren't they? But I was like, I really like them. They did have quite a few other designs there, but I didn't end up grabbing them all because I hadn't got any ideas for them. I'm going to be honest. If I had ideas for them, I would have grabbed them there and then. I was looking for some big chunky ones, but they didn't have those. So that was it. They were the ones I got. Right, I'm going to put that in the bag. And this bag is now going to sit up here on the shelf. I've just got to find room for it. Right, Dory head, move. Okay. And yes, I bought the Bendigo bag as well. Mary did have one free, and I'm like, Mary, I want to buy the bag. I want a Bendigo Woolen Mills bag. Yeah, I was a bit crazy there, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. Now, me and Mary, of course, I was in the car with Mary, and we went to go and get some lunch. I was meant to do a little interview with her during the lunch, but one, I was enjoying her company, and I didn't want to interrupt it for channel stuff. It might sound horrible, but I was enjoying just chatting normally with Mary. Now, she did do a little bit of recording of me, but I didn't get around to recording her, which really was a shame. But as I said, I was caught up in the moment. I was enjoying sitting eating. I was enjoying crocheting and chatting crochet with somebody that wasn't rolling their eyes going, I don't understand. So we had a beautiful meal, which I will show you now. Beautiful chat, and then we jumped in the car and we were going to go and grab coffee from somewhere else. But the problem is, up by Bendigo Woolen Mills, they seem to shut down everything at around 3 o'clock, which to me sounds really, really strange. But Mary, it's not the only place that does it, darling. They did the same when I took my husband elsewhere, where we went on another trip a couple of days later. But yeah, so we ended up having to get a McDonald's. We went to the Big M just for coffee, so that poor Mary was supercharged enough to drive home. But yeah, it was an absolutely beautiful day. I got to meet her son, who's absolute giggle, and her husband as well, who's a good guy. They really are. Both of them are absolutely lovely. And the cat, I hope she's doing okay. Yeah, as I said, it was lovely, but it was nice not to be behind the lens of a camera or constantly thinking content, which is really what I should have been doing, but I didn't. So here's some videos, and here's some other bits from that particular section of the trip. Oh no, Mary's asleep. Stupid Aussie time, English time conversion. I sent her a message, but she hasn't picked it up yet because she's in bed. So rather than leaving this video to be uploaded on another day, I'm going to just squidge it all together now and upload, and you'll have to wait for the pictures for next week. Oops, my bad. Or of course you can pop over to Mary's Wow Crochet and see it firsthand from her point of view. She'll possibly be popping up a video sometime this week. Now, during the holiday, of course, most of it was spent with the family. We're really lucky mother-in-law has a pool. So the first thing I did when I got there was get my bathers on and jump in the pool. They were quite shocked. The weather was horrid. It had been raining. It stopped, but the temperature of the pool was something like 14 degrees and the outside air temperature had only made it to about 16. And I went, I don't care. And I got in the pool and I did some lengths. And I'm like, la 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 la. The rest of the family didn't dare get in until it got warmer. But at least I could say, look, I'm ahead of you guys. I've beaten you. I've done some swimming in the pool. Now, the weather was very, very shocking. When we left the UK, it was cold, it was dismal, which is normal. There was a bit of rain, that's fine. When we landed, my Facebook was full of flood warnings and all sorts from my local area, and it turned out that the River Severn and the River Avon were both very high again. We had torrential weather here in the UK, and a local village to me was flooded yet again. It seems to be a yearly occurrence that they're getting flooded, just not to damage the property flooded, just the water level comes up to a certain point. But I haven't fully checked on everybody yet. I knew that my estate that I lived on was perfectly fine. I know that my friends close by, they're all perfectly fine, as well as the businesses in the local high street were okay as well, because I've got all of those people on my Facebook. So I was keeping an eye on that, and then we're listening on the news, and Bendigo in Australia was also flooding. And I'm like, I've left a flood, and there's another one here. So myself and Mary were unsure whether we'd actually be able to make it to Bendigo because of the flooding. But thankfully, Bendigo, the water did drain away quite nicely. But when we got to Bendigo Woolen Mills, they were okay. The stock hadn't been touched. Nothing had hurt the machinery either. And the local area in Bendigo all looked really pretty nice again. So hopefully nobody was overly affected, and anybody that was are now at the point where their property has easily dried out, because this happened at the beginning of the beginning of January even. Yeah, so really. So getting back to the holiday, we spent a lot of time, of course, with my mother and father-in-law. We went out, where did we go? Apart from the Spotlight, we had to go to my husband's favourite shop, which is a hardware store over there, because it turned out that I didn't have what I needed to complete the bag. I needed some clips, and I needed the special ropey stuff, I can't even think what it's called, for this handbag, for the rucksack bag, because I didn't want to do crocheted straps. Because she's growing, it meant that they would need to keep getting replaced, and yeah, that would be fine. I'd happily do that every couple of years when we go over, but trying to get a bag back off a little wouldn't work. So we went into Bunnings. That was it. I knew I'd get there in the end. I went into Bunnings, which is a massive hardware store where they've got the tools. It's like B&Q here in the UK. Okay, so an oversized B&Q for the UK, and I'm sorry, I don't know what you would call it in other countries, but you've got the garden centre, you've got building supplies and everything in between, and all the tools that if you was building anything in the whole wide world, you'd be able to find the tool in there as well. So we've gone into Bunnings because Mary helped me out here, and I grabbed some adjustable side release and buckles, which are the ones that you get on rucksacks. Look, there we go. Thank you for finally focusing in, camera. You can tell it's been out of practice. And I also grabbed the webbing as well, which is a polyester webbing, and it's 25mm, so it fitted in lovely. So that's that too. Now, you can probably get this here in the UK, but I'm going to have to do some searches and see whether we can, in fact, get it in the UK, and what the prices are and things like that before I put out the monkey bag. But if you're in America, you know, not America, sorry, Australia, you know to go to Bunnings. These are a couple of bucks a packet, and I think that was $6. So all in all, for under $10, I had enough to do that. Yeah, my brain's going to sleep already. This is bad. Right. Okay, so I stopped when my brain stopped playing for a bit and started editing, and realised I'm kicking in at around the 50-minute mark. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop up some videos of this monkey bag that I keep talking about, and the elephant that I keep talking about, so that you can see them basically, and you can tell me in the comment section down below if the patterns that you would be interested in. Fingers crossed, as of next week or the week after, I will actually have written up the patterns fully for you, and there will be a video tutorial that will be attached to them, and they'll be available over in the Ravelry shop. I just need to get those tutorials made. So that's my job for later on tomorrow, because the light's already dying here. Right, so that's it for me for today. Please keep your eye out for the video about that yarn. I wonder if it is the granny square one. And also, please remember to pop a comment in the comment section down below if you would like to see the monkey or the elephant patterns become available here on YouTube, and of course if you're going to purchase them over on Ravelry. Right, that is it for me for today. There will be more Aussie adventures next week. Ta-ra everybody. Oh, remember, stay chilled, stay happy and keep crafting. See, told you, my brain's not working. He's out of practice.